Hello, friends. How are ya? Really, how are you doing? Happiest of Saturdays to you. It is episode. What episode are we on? 11? 12? Where are we? Hold on, now I need to look. Episode 12 of Is It Expired? I don't know where we're at. It's gonna be real rough in the future. As always, do not use expired makeup. I am well aware of what the consequences could be, and I am taking that risk for myself. The reason I'm doing this is just due to the fact that I have hundreds upon hundreds of products in my collection, and I have had a lot of them for a very long time, and they get shoved into the depths of my drawers, of my system, of my organizational chaos, and I forget about them. So I let a random number generator pick 5 items from my Excel spreadsheet, and I use those for a week, see how they're doing, and see if it's time for them to go. So let's see what I pulled last week. Alright, last week I was actually incredibly busy again, a lot of holiday events going on, which is weird for me because I don't leave the house, ever. So December has been wild for me. I do have some lovely flowers here during my staff party, which was the first one that we had had in the 3 years that I've been with my company. I wanted to do something special for the ladies in the company, especially here in my city, so I just took a few bouquets of flowers and gave them out to all the ladies that were present, and was lucky enough to be able to bring my own set home. So I was really happy about that, but moving right along here. The first item from last week here was the Marc Jacobs Shameless Foundation in the shade Light R250. This allegedly expired in April of 2020. Now, I did use this for the week. I had no reaction, no redness, no inflammation, so I will continue to use this, but due to the fact that I can see an expiry date on here, I'm going to very much put this to the forefront and get it used up within next year, because that's a little embarrassing. I don't like seeing an actual date and being like, oh yeah, you real expired. So I am going to make sure that I use this up next year. Next, I do have the Annabelle Demure Lip Liner. This is probably 6-7 years old, something around there, but it is almost done. It's a little guy now, so again, I think I'm going to put him in my pile of things I want to use up in 2024. Next, I've got a couple Morphe items. This is the Latte Brow Cream, so it's like a colored brow waxy pomade. I do really like him. I'm going to continue to use this in the foreseeable future. I will probably pair it with a pencil just to get a little bit more precision. There were so many P words in that sentence, but I do enjoy this. This is only about a year old, so pretty fresh in the grand scheme of things in my collection, but I like it. I am slowly starting to get to know how to use him a little bit more. And then just staying true to the Morphe items here. This is the Morphe times Jaclyn Hill. Why do I always say it like that? Morphe and Jaclyn Hill Armed and Gorgeous palette. This is a... Sorry, I just always bop the camera stand. Beautiful color story, nice and grungy, loving the greens and the browns. This is about 5 years old, but I had no issues. I did absolutely use every single shade in this palette within the week. Really went heavy-handed with that green. He does have a dip forming, which is very exciting. It means I can visually see that I've used the product, which I love to see. Love to see use. So I'm going to put him back, but I will try to remember that it's there, because I did actually genuinely enjoy this. I didn't do anything too crazy during the week, but it's beautiful for some nice natural looks. You can get a little smokier. Love it. So was happy to use him. And last, from the Cult of Revolution, this is so old that the actual branding on the front has totally worn off. I don't remember what they said, probably just baked blusher. These are the Vivid Baked Blushers. They came in a set of 5. I got them probably 8, 9 years ago. This is the shade Love Me the Best. I have used one of these up, so I know it's possible, and I do really like them. I think they're a little bit just not as pigmented maybe as they once were, but they still blend out really beautifully. You just have to build it a little more, in my experience. So I am going to continue to use that one as well. I'm not going to call it. And that was last week. I had a lot of fun, and I feel like I created a lot of really nice looks with them. Just pretty neutral, natural though. Nothing too crazy. I haven't been getting too wild with my makeup lately, simply due to the fact that I have events almost every day that I'm getting ready, which again, for me is just a lot. So it's like, okay, I'm going to tone it down a little bit. I'm not going to get wild and out there because I need it to last all day, and I need to go into these things probably not with bright neon cut crease. Maybe. It's more of a summer thing, I think. Let's move on to this week. This week, I feel like was a little bit wild in the picks here. There's some very, very old, and there's some very, very new, and used, and loved, and not even opened. So it's a little bit all over the map, and I am excited to play with these things this week. Let's start with something a little bit older. Cult of Revolution. This is the I Heart Revolution Salted Caramel palette. This is the Salted Caramel. So this was the dupe of the Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar palette. I never had that palette. It didn't draw my attention as much as the original Chocolate Bar palette or the Bon Bon palette. It was a little more cool toned, and this just happened to be in a Christmas set I got about 5 years ago. Now this shade here is gone. It's no longer in there, and the reason being is it was this really flaky light pink shade, and I just couldn't get it to work. It just flaked off right away. It just didn't seem to want to stick or blend or do anything. So I said, enough is enough, and I just scraped it out and took it on out of there. But other than that, I do really like this. Today I used the black and the brown as an eyeliner and just blended everything right out. I went in with the shimmer shade here all over it's really hard with the nails this long, all over the lid. And then I just put a Colourpop, not a Super Shock, a Jelly Much, Jelly Wow, Jelly whatever, one of those, and tapped it on my lid to give it a little extra pizzazz. And that's really all I did. Again, I have an event tonight, so smoky, but not over the top. I am excited to use this for the week, and I think I am going to grab some of my more colorful singles, as well as maybe some fun colorful eyeliner, because this is very neutral. And I will have some fun on days that I don't actually have anywhere to be. Moving on. Let's go new. We'll go, yeah, that's going to be the plan. So this was one that I hadn't even opened, and I gave up halfway down. So there's still packaging on most of it. There's like a little zip thing, and the zip was not zipping. So I gave up. This is the Sephora Bright Future Gel Serum Concealer in the shade Fondant 03. First time I've used it. First time I've used this one specifically. I have had this concealer before, and I really, really like them. They're nice and light and easy, and I just like them. They're just nice concealers, and for the price point, I think they were half off too, so they were like, what were you, $8? Something like that. Fabulous. Not mad about that at all. Love it. And I do really, really enjoy this concealer. Brand spanking new. I got it in a Sephora haul August or September. So very, very new and wasn't even opened. Excited to use it. Next, let's go back in time. And let's bring out the Tom Ford Bronzing Powder in the shade 01 Gold Dust. Now, this actually has, I don't know if you can see, but there is a dent. So I have used this a ton, as best I can with 50 other bronzers in my collection. This is probably, I got it when I worked at Sephora, so it's probably 7 years old, and I love it. I love the shade, even though it is quite warm. I do really, really enjoy it. I think it just blends out beautifully, and I forget about it, and which is ridiculous. It's luxury. This was an expensive piece, and I forget about it. So I was really excited to pull this, and I'm excited to play with it for the week. I adore it. I always have. It just gets lost because it's little. And I have to actually organize. My blush and my bronzers are together, and I'm almost at a point where I need to separate them because there are so many of each. But what I would rather do instead of that is actually use some of these up and get them out. I would rather not have to give myself more space, because if I see more space, I'll be like, well, I have space to buy more. And in reality, I have over 50 bronzers, 50 blushes, and a ton of face palettes. So I don't need more, and I know that. So I'm going to use him, and I actually think I can hit pan, perhaps, maybe during this week. If I get ready every day, I think I'll be able to hit pan. I think it's doable. So if not this week, 2024 for sure, we will be hitting pan. We're getting some good use out of this. And bringing it back to recent items. Again, this was not even unwrapped. I bought this in probably the summer. I want to say my last Shop Miss A haul was probably in like June. And I do 2 a year because I only use the brush cleanser from Shop Miss A. It gets everything out. It's not a fight. It's not a hassle, and I love it. And it's like $1. In Canada, it's like $1.70 or something, and I stock right up. I actually have a shipment on its way. I will be doing another haul video once I get everything in, and then my game plan is to go on a no-buy for, I'm hoping, 3 months. That's my game plan, and then it's going to be a low buy for the rest of 2024 regardless, because I just have too much. So this is the Shop Miss A AOA Studio CC Color Correcting Cream in the shade, oh, it's on the bottom, light, just light, okay. This was actually quite orange, so I think it will be better come summer. I did just mix it with one of my foundations that's a little bit lighter and a little more cool toned, and it really toned it down a lot. The coverage is really nice. It's a little bit more coverage than you'd expect from a CC cream. I found it to be more of almost a medium. So just be aware of that. It's not super light coverage. It does give you a little bit more, but I like this. It is vegan, cruelty-free, and it does have a 12-month shelf life once opened. So technically not expired, because I just opened it today. Success, one for the books. And then less of a success is my last item here. This is the Urban Decay, the booty just fell off. He lost his booty. The Legend eyeliner. What were these called? I've used so much of it that I don't actually recall what these were called. They were just like I think it was the waterline pencil, perhaps. There isn't a whole heck of a lot left. However, this is about 9 years old. There's nothing. There's no color left. It hurts. So I did not use this today. It wasn't going to happen. I am not putting my eyes through that much strain. We're calling it expired because it is completely dried out. There is no pigment left. It will not work. This is finally one that needs to go. And I love that. At least it did get some use. It is quite tiny. It's about 1/3 of the size it originally was. So I'm proud of that. It means at least I did get a little bit in before I have to kick it to the curb. And that's it. It's going to be another week of only 4 items, just due to the fact that one of those items was very expired and is getting decluttered. It's going away. I've had enough. But I'm happy about it. I love to see things go out of my collection. I would prefer to see them go out organically, just due to the fact that I've used them up. But I do know so many of these things are so incredibly old that it is what it is. If they've gone bad, fine. I am totally willing to chuck them at that point. I get it. It's time for them to go. But because I don't go through my collection that often and test things and see where they're at, I don't notice when they've gone off. So that's what I love about this project. It brings them to the forefront so I can determine if it's time for them to just hit the garbage can. Kaput. It is done. But that's it. Again, I'm trying to just fly through these. I just have had way too much to do lately. But have a wonderful day, weekend, journey in your life, and I will see you next week.